All right, today we're jumping into a big one, the T-Much method. It's this super controversial dating philosophy that's just exploded online. Now, whether you think it's genius or just plain toxic, our job here is to break down what it actually says, pulling directly from the source. So let's get right to it.
So, right out of the gate, the source material hits you with this command: test them, lie to them. And look, this isn't just to get a reaction, it's setting up a core belief of this whole philosophy that you can't just passively get to know someone. The argument is that men need to, poke the bear a little, provoke reactions to see who a woman really is. It's a really challenging idea, and it's key to everything that comes next.
So, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the problem it's trying to solve, what it calls the good man trap. Then we'll get into the psychology of it, the whole manipulation versus romance idea. After that, we'll explore the two big solutions it offers: boundaries and building your life first. And finally, we'll get into the major contradiction at the heart of it all. Okay, let's jump right into section 1. This whole method is pretty much built to solve one specific problem: the trap that good men fall into. The philosophy points to a pattern of behavior that it says just leads to failure in dating, a pattern that the internet has famously labeled simping. So what exactly is simpio, or simping, in this context? It's not just about being kind. It's defined as a kind of hidden deal. You give tons of attention, money, or favors, all while secretly hoping to get affection or a relationship back. That difference between being genuinely generous and doing something to get something, that's absolutely central to this whole philosophy. And the source gets really specific here. We're talking about a guy offering to pay for things for a woman he's not even with, or a guy who will drop everything he's doing the second she calls. In this worldview, these aren't seen as sweet gestures. Nope, they're seen as these desperate attempts to buy her affection. And that's precisely why they say it all blows up in your face. So that brings us to the million-dollar question for the next section. Why on earth would these seemingly good actions fail? Well, according to the source, it's not about what you do, it's all about how it's seen. And boom, here it is. This is the core argument of the whole thing. The source claims that a woman doesn't see simping and think, oh, how romantic. She sees it and thinks, this is manipulation. She sees it as a guy trying to get what he wants without having the guts to just ask for it. This slide just lays it all out, that total disconnect. On one side, you've got the guy's intention. He thinks he's being romantic, generous, kind. But on the other side, you've got how she supposedly sees it, as manipulative, weak, and just needy. The thought process, according to the source, is basically, wow, this guy has zero backbone. The source actually has a name for this: passive manipulation. Because the man isn't being direct, his nice gestures are seen as this shady strategy. And this is where it takes a turn, because in this worldview, her perception gives her permission to do the same thing. The logic becomes, well, if he's trying to manipulate me, then I can just manipulate him right back. Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, the first big pillar of the solution, according to this philosophy, is all about learning how to set and actually enforce strong boundaries. So the source claims that women will subconsciously test men, calling at a weird hour, asking for a favor that's super inconvenient, maybe mentioning an ex. These aren't viewed as mean-spirited acts, but more like these instinctual little pokes, almost like she's inviting the man to prove his own value by setting a boundary. And here's the paradox that's really at the center of this whole idea. When a guy fails these tests by just giving in, he just confirms that he's weak. But when he says, hey, you know what? No, that doesn't work for me, he's not being a jerk. He's actually communicating that he respects himself. He's showing that his life doesn't revolve around her, which supposedly makes him way more attractive. And the source claims this applies to everyone. Like the quote says, even the most powerful, most empowered woman will not only accept, but actually respect boundaries as long as they come from the right guy. And in this world, the right guy is a man who already respects himself.
So that's boundaries. Now we get to the second, and you could argue much more important piece of the solution. This isn't just about how you act in the moment, it's about the entire foundation of a man's life, his purpose.
So the source brings up that classic, painful question, the one the nice guy asks when he gets rejected. He sees a woman he's been chasing for months go out with some other guy after just a few days, and he's left wondering, what does that guy have that I don't?
And the source offers a very simple one-word answer: dignity. The argument isn't that the other guy's better looking or has more money, it's that he has this internal sense of his own worth that has nothing to do with whether a woman likes him or not.
So what does this dignity actually look like? Well, according to the source, it means having options. So you're not coming from a place of desperation. It means having a purpose, your job, your goals, your hobbies, that comes first. And maybe most importantly, it's being genuinely okay with whatever happens. Your happiness isn't riding on her saying yes or no.
And that right there brings us to the main shift in behavior this whole philosophy is about. The mystique, as it's framed here, is building your entire life around a woman. The solution is to build an awesome life for yourself first, and then invite a woman to be a part of it. She becomes a complement to your purpose, not the purpose itself.
Okay, this brings us to our last section, and it's the big one. It's the most common criticism of this method, and it's something the source material itself has to deal with. Does all this stuff, setting boundaries, acting indifferent, putting yourself first, does it just mean you have to be a cruel jerk to be attractive? And this quote just nails that conflict, right? A lot of guys hear this advice and they think, I don't want to be that guy. I like being caring and generous. If I have to be a jerk to get respect, I'd honestly rather just be alone. But here's where the source completely reframes the entire argument. It claims this whole philosophy isn't about being unkind to her, it's about stopping being so unkind to yourself. The problem isn't giving. The problem is giving when you have nothing left, sacrificing your own time, your money, your well-being, all in the hopes of getting something back. So the path forward isn't to become cold and heartless, but to just prioritize yourself. And the steps are pretty clear. First, get your own life in order. Like the source says, buy yourself a gift before you buy one for her. That way, when you do give something to someone, it comes from a place of having plenty, not from a place of desperation.
And this is really where it all lands. This is the entire philosophy boiled down into one single powerful idea. It completely shifts the focus from being a strategy to deal with women and turns it into a strategy to deal with yourself. The claim is, if you start treating yourself with more respect, everyone else will too.
So there you have it, the T-MAC method, from start to finish. It begins with a problem of the nice guy and ends with a solution of radical self-priority. And it leaves a huge question on the table. Is this a genuine path to self-respect, or is it just a slick way to justify being selfish? The source gives you its answer, but in the end, how you interpret it, well, that's up to you.